I spent an entire year studying for the LSAT, and at least half of it was a complete waste of time. I started off in the low 150s, stayed there for far too long doing textbooks that were hand-me-downs containing fake LSAT questions. Eventually, I started taking LSAT prep tests, but the explanations weren't helping. Taking practice tests wasn't helping either. Eventually, I did every single practice test ever released and brought my score from the low 150s to practice test scores in the mid to high 170s. But I nearly bombed the LSAT on test day because I hadn't properly simulated test day conditions with my breakfast. I had this idea that protein was brain power, it was brain food, so I assaulted my stomach with a full can of tuna fish on a bagel when I had never eaten that first thing in the morning before. This was back when the LSAT was in person only, and you could only take it on Saturday morning at roughly 9 a.m. So at 6 a.m., woke up super early, ate that bagel with the tuna fish. It did not go well. My stomach rejected it wholeheartedly. I ended up vomiting up the entire thing, and I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So I left my apartment and I grabbed a banana from the fruit stand on the corner near the subway, and I headed down to the test center, took the LSAT, ended up going totally fine, got my 175 in the end. It all worked out. But of course, that's my routine in terms of what not to do on LSAT test day itself. Of course, getting a top score on the LSAT is not just about the day of. It's not just about avoiding doing stupid things on the morning of the LSAT. Instead, it's about what you do in the weeks and months leading up to the LSAT. And so I'm going to break this video down in two parts. Whether you're new to the LSAT or you've been at this for a while, either way, I'm going to share with you how we structure study plans for our students at LSAT Unplugged. If you join our program, we actually create personalized day-by-day study plans for all of our students, laying out exactly what to do every single day over the course of your prep, and we give you regular accountability calls to make sure that you're staying on track. Even if you're not part of the program though, this study plan structure can still help you avoid wasting your time. It shows you what to do, what not to do. Bottom line, of course, you don't want to do it all in just a month or two if you can avoid it. I don't want you to cram for this test. Instead, I recommend giving yourself as much time as possible to achieve your fullest potential. Regardless, whenever you're taking the LSAT, this structure will work for you. I call it the LASER approach to LSAT prep. LASER is an acronym standing for Learning, Accuracy, Sections, Exams, and Review. Learning is building that strong foundation. To start off with, you want to focus on the most common LSAT question types. For example, in logical reasoning, that's going to be necessary assumption, inference, and flaw. You don't want to focus on the rare question types since every question's worth the same. You'll get to those rare ones later. In reading comprehension, focus first and foremost on getting down what is the main idea of the passage, what is the author's opinion, the details, the supporting examples. You can always go back to the passage and find those when you need to help you solve a particular question. But bottom line, get out of that learning foundational phase as soon as possible and move on to the accuracy phase. Accuracy is where you are drilling LSAT questions by type, untimed, to make sure that you know what is the proper perspective from which to view each section and each question type. Once you're at reasonable accuracy there, maybe 70% or so, you then move on to doing individual timed sections to work on your pacing. These are going to be 35 minutes with standard timing. Then you're going to start doing 2 sections back to back to build up your endurance, then 2 sections, a break, 1 more, then 2 sections, a break, and then 2 more sections. The reason for this is that test day itself is going to be 4 sections, 2 sections back to back, 10-minute break, 2 more sections back to back with standard timing without accommodations. So then you're moving on to those full-length timed practice tests. You're doing on average probably once a week, maybe 2 a week if you have little to no other obligations aside from studying for the LSAT. You want to get at least 10 of these full-length timed practice tests under your belt before the big day. Now, last and certainly not least is the review process. You want to mix and review throughout your LSAT study regimen. At LSAT Unplugged, we teach the Socratic review method framework to help you understand exactly what you're missing in a certain question that you're getting wrong, what are the tricks and traps that you are uniquely prone to falling for, so that you can avoid making those same mistakes again in your future LSAT practice tests. So this is the LASER approach to LSAT prep as a whole. Again, at LSAT Unplugged, we will create a personalized day-by-day study plan using this framework for all of our students. Again, links below the video to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. Now, how do you use the LASER approach? How do you allocate your time in terms of like how many weeks do you work on the learning phase versus how many weeks do you work on the accuracy phase? The answer is It depends. If you have only a single month between now and test day, week 1 is learning, week 2 is accuracy, week 3 is sections, and week 4 is exams. Review is mixed in throughout. If you have 3 months until the LSAT, in contrast, maybe you want to spend 2 to 3 weeks on each phase of the laser approach. Regardless, though, you don't want to wait too long before getting to the exams phase, because it really is important to simulate test day itself, as I learned back when I was studying for the LSAT, and that involves doing several full-length timed practice tests before the big day. I recommend ideally at least 10 of them, so that test day itself feels like just another practice test. Anyway, folks, that's all for now. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.